that says that the powers that be are expecting this in 2012. If you just look at the dollar bill and some of their statements, and you see some of the hidden symbols within our dollar, every day you're looking at Nova Order Seclorum, which does not mean New World Order. It means New Order of the Ages, meaning the processional ages.
Right.
So they've actually encoded that, even our powers that be, even the secret societies and the doofuses that think they own us, are encoding all this information right in front of your face.
That's it.
I could go on and on and on for days about this stuff, but if you really want proof of it all, you need to read Charles Hapgood, you need to read Graham Hancock, you need to read Maurice Cottrell and Patrick Garrell.
Definitely, yeah. I've been listening to some interviews by Garrell lately. He's got a lot of great information. That's incredible stuff, and it all seems to fit together really well, and I definitely need to investigate it more, and I encourage the listeners to do that as well. I'm wondering, have you seen the movie 2012 that was released just recently?
No, I'm of a guy, I don't go to theaters because of key issues, like key, that kind of stuff. I can't be in crowds. And so I rarely watch films. I hardly ever pay any attention to TV. Eventually, I'll probably get around to seeing it when it's available on some other format.
Yeah, I downloaded it with the Pirate Bay the other day, and I watched it last night, and it's really incredible. I mean, it's very evident that just what you said about basically pulling up the drawbridge and watching us all die, and then emerging into a brand new clean world all alone. That's basically what happens. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
that's all right. I think I understand the general plot anyway.
Yeah, that's what's going on. So that was really interesting to me. But July 7th, that is when there's a bit of a turning of the tide. That's
I think of it as solidification, not turning.
Okay.
So the tide will turn sometime in early or late winter, before early spring, and then we'll go through 3 or 4 or 5 months. And then from my viewpoint in the emotional trend line, the revolution is well underway and will not be stopped in a nascent stillbirth fashion if it makes it past July 7th.
Right.
If we're still in an active revolutionary mode from then, we've essentially won. It's just a matter of going through the motions of fighting all the rest of the battles. But we will have won at that stage because the populace will have shifted enough.
Right. And so at that point, do you envision this information coming out that we can all prepare for what's coming instead of being kept in the dark about it?
Do I think there will be disclosure? I don't know. That's a real question. There may not be effective global communications once the revolution gets really moving. How rapid the chaos will descend, nor what will nor the response of the powers that be. I mean, we can estimate and make some general statements about how they'll respond, but whether it would be effective, whether they'll have the money to do so. And to be honest, my viewpoint is that if you're waiting for disclosure, you're a dead person, because it may never come, and you'll wait infinitely until time runs out, and that might be as little as 2.5 years from now.
Right, and that's why we really should go ahead.
You have to make up your own mind, do your own research. Don't believe a thing I'm saying. Go read these people. Look at the math. Get a calculator and do the math. Look at how the Mayans have encoded all of this, and then you look at the constructions that Patrick Garrell has put together. I found 2 arithmetic errors in his work, but no mathematic errors.
Right.
And it's
minor stuff.
Math doesn't lie, guy. You know, what can I say?
Definitely. Yeah, so that's really enlightening. But at that point, July 7th, the world could be a completely different place. And then you see these new electrics, just new technology coming onto the scene. Can you give us any more information?
That's going to be, no, what we're dealing with now is the new electrics won't emerge until post-2013 with whatever remnant society is there.
Right.
We think that, okay, let me explain how it works for us.
Okay.
You can imagine a pyramid of knowledge. Let's accept, say, the Illuminati numbers and say our pyramid has 13 layers, and we're sitting up making our interpretation at the top, the capstone.
Right.
The further we go down in the detail layers of our data, the broader the context descriptions become, and at some point they become absolutely meaningless because there's just too many words to choose from. So our data on the new electrics is valid down to a certain point, but beyond that point it's more guessing than it is trend analysis. So I have to state that out right out front. And if we happen to guess right as to which level of details show up, then it looks pretty spectacular. But we could still get the general archetype correctly without getting the actual details of how it manifests. So, but our data suggests that over the period from 2009, from this past fall, so something happened in this fall that came out in terms of a fundamental breakthrough or announcement or something that we have yet to see the visibility within the mainstream media, but we will in 2010. That fundamental change in science is what will produce the new electrics that will exist in 2013. However, there is a possibility that it is the black ops or shadow world that MIT supports in its academic basis with all the secret projects and the government funding and so on, that will actually burst out, so to speak, in 2013 among the survivors, and that will produce the new electrics. There's two possible channels that these things could develop. Make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, the farther out it is in the future, it's harder to say absolutely.
Correct. And actually, we have a much better, when we use immediacy data, we have a much better forecasting ability for 3 days out to 3 months. But we do actually get fairly good in some of our long-range stuff. The new electrics are going to be very interesting, but we've got to get there first. Right. It's going to be rather chaotic between now and then.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've seen things, Cliff, let me tell you, that they don't make sense as far as the second law goes. Second law.
Oh, sure. No, that's except in the case of space goat farts. That's how they manage to, the space goats, that's how they move from one, giant mutant space goats move from one area of space to the other is using Newton's second law. But they're the only ones that are really traveling that way.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I hope I make it to that point.
Well, also now we can say from current levels of data, by the way, just doing a historical analysis, that the shadow world achieved their success probably in February or March of 1956. 1956 is real solid. The February to March realm is a little bit of a guess, but we think that was when they actually conquered an understanding of gravitics and were able to create anti-gravity and perpetual, or not perpetual motion, but zero-point energy.
Wow.
And now, of course, they've been keeping it secret and refining it, and we could really use it.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen personally, I have a set of third-generation night vision goggles, and I've seen the results of that. I mean, I've seen the vessels up over my head less than 200 miles away doing fleet-to-fleet transfers of material.
Yeah, there's stuff going on up there. If you guys haven't seen this on YouTube, what's the guy's name to Google?
Ed Grimsley.
Okay, Ed Grimsley. Just Google that. You'll see some wild video, night vision material that's...
It's truly shocking the first time you see it going on, yeah. And it makes the whole extradition of the poor fellow Gary McKinnon absurd, you know. Right. And besides which, he didn't really hack into anybody's machines. Somebody, you know, casually left a password as password or null.
Yeah. Yeah, for you guys that don't know, Gary McKinnon was... he's about to be extradited. I don't think he has been extradited.
He has yet. He's in his last days as a relatively free person in England, and he's being there. The English were told to extradite him to the U.S. for actions that are not a crime in England and have yet to be proven to be a crime here in the U.S.
Wow.
And there's been no damage established. So it's basically the United States government just went on over to England and said, we want this citizen. We're going to haul him over here, and probably he's going to be suicided.
Wow. Yeah, it's just a really unfortunate story. I mean,
no, it's not unfortunate. It's a situation of malevolence and the cover your ass syndrome that these shadow people have.
Wow.
So let's not make it appear to be an accident of nature.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've got to be rather harsh about this because again, you're dealing with a radical linguist, and to a certain extent, we're worse than lawyers.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. That's great. Okay. Yeah, that about does it. I mean, it's really hard to say about things past July 7th when all this chaos is, just at its height or whatever. But if you are able to come on, between now and then at some point and explain what you see in the future, that'd be really great. But definitely I'll keep in touch and be watching you on YouTube. If you want to go out your information for your website, that'd be great.
Yeah, if anybody wants any of our stuff, it's at halfpasthuman.com. The reports are $10 a pop.
Just $10.
$10 for a Shape of Things to Come. It used to be very expensive. We were able to cut our bandwidth costs a little bit and organize things a bit better. And besides which, we're so close to the end time here that it's just The idea of making money is absurd, so we cut our costs as much as possible to get as many people involved as possible.
Right.
It's my hope that we might have perhaps millions of individuals that take action and survive what's coming.
Definitely. I mean, I bought the last two, and I'm going to keep it up as long as they're coming out, so I highly recommend it, and halfpasthuman.com, and thanks so much, Cliff.
Thank you.